Watch how she treats the waiter. Watch how she treats her parents. Watch how she treats her friends. Watch how she talks about her ex-boyfriends, because you may be that person in the future, unfortunately. Hey guys, Hector Castillo-Poppy from girlschase.com. Here for part number 2 of why you should date alpha females. In the first part, I explained why you should actually date them, what are the benefits of dating them, and here in part 2, we're going to explain how to actually spot a true alpha female and weed her out from the fake bad bitches. Now, just as with men, there are fake alpha males and there's true alpha males. There aren't necessarily rules that make them explicitly 100%, like people say, like, okay, well, a true alpha male doesn't have to explain that he's alpha or confident or cool. And that's not necessarily true. You can be a truly cool guy and boast and be proud of your achievements, right? So there's no set in stone, only an alpha does this or an alpha would never do this, right? What being an alpha means is you are dominant, and what that means is you can get what you want out of life, right? You can achieve it, right? Maybe it's just the word dominant that rubs people the wrong way, but it is an accurate word. You're going to dominate life, and you're going to achieve what you want, and you're going to win. It's also going to mean you have values, and you have strong values that you adhere to, so you're a strong man of virtue, right? And lastly, there is the sexual social element, where with men, he can either get a lot of girls or get a few high quality girls, or find one really high value girl that he wants as a wife or a girlfriend, but he has the ability to get it. And also when he does have friends, maybe he wants a lot of friends, maybe he wants a small group, right? There isn't one way to be a social alpha. He can get those friends because people are attracted to him and they want to be around him because of the energy and company that he provides them, right? So there's no set in stone rules of what makes someone alpha, but we can go by some guidelines under those 3 areas of life in general, sex and social status, and then their virtues. So with fake alpha males, what they do is they try to overcompensate for some lack in this area by giving the fundamentals of an alpha male, right? They may not be successful or have this or have that, but they're going to give the impression that they are that guy through the way that they come off. They're going to be very proud of themselves. They're going to be very loud and confident. They're going to be assertive with what it is they want. And so it's going to come off a lot of times as confident, but then you're going to see in the long run if it actually is sincere or not. Whereas a true alpha male is going to have those things, and how he expresses them can be very different. Some guys can be very introverted, some can be very extroverted, some can kind of be a little bit cocky and arrogant, but they're still genuinely strong, cool people, and some people are going to be very overly humble and very, very hiding of their accomplishments and their achievements. But they genuinely have those things, right? So we're going to have to look deep into a woman's life to see if she truly is an alpha female. So this is going to require you to some level to spend time with her and to get to know her and at least go on a date with her or be friends with her, but we're trying not to be girls' friends. Unless you're kind of just getting to know women and you're not really that successful, being their friends can give you some experience and you can get comfortable being around them. So I wouldn't totally tell you not to do that. But for the most part, we want to be dating them because we want to see their sexual side and we want to see their romantic side, because that's when you truly get to know a woman. You don't truly know a woman, in my opinion, until you slept with her. So what makes an alpha female a genuine alpha female and not a fake bad bitch? So let's start with life in general, okay? So we want to kind of look at her life as a resume. She's not reduced to her accomplishments, but it's a good base to start with. So what I look for in an alpha female is that, like I said, she can achieve things, right? So she sets her mind to something, she's going to do it. So I like to look for girls who have, at least in my opinion, a master's degree, right? Or a doctorate of some sort, a Juris Doctorate, a medical degree, or she's been to graduate school. Now, if she had a desire to go for a certain field that maybe didn't require a master's or a PhD, that's fine. I'm not saying if she doesn't have that check mark, she's not an alpha female. What that accomplishment implies is what's important. Kind of just like girls like guys with money, because it shows what they've accomplished, right? Unless they are their girlfriend or marry the guy, they're not actually going to benefit from his money all that well, as long as he's not sugar daddying them. But they like him because what the money implies about him, right? So in the same way, what is a high degree, a high level degree of a master's, a graduate degree, what does that reflect about her? It reflects that she has drive, that she has commitment, and that she has the discipline to study and stick with it until she gets it, okay? Now, if she's younger and is in school and going for it, okay, that's a good sign, right? Now, but you don't know for sure if she's gonna actually stick with it and achieve it. So there is sometimes an age thing here as well, because she needs time to flesh out her life. But women tend to mature a lot faster than men. I'd say about 25, you really get a strong sense for a woman's true character. So, by 25, she's gonna probably have a job. So is she doing what she wants to do, or is she on her way to doing it? She doesn't have to have her entire life together, but is she at least on the path, right? So is she in a job that she enjoys? Or is it a job she's doing for the short term, but she's slowly working on what she truly wants? What is her background in her upbringing, right? Not everyone is defined by their upbringing. I'm definitely not. I had a great mother who raised me alone, but there was a lot about my childhood that maybe wouldn't speak so good of me, and a lot of things that I had to overcome, right? So I don't want you to necessarily say, oh, because you went through this, or you're this kind of person, you're out. But you do need to understand what led her to where she is right now, and how has she dealt with her adversities in the past? How has she dealt with her history, positive or negative, and what kind of person has it shaped her into? And you can see that pretty evidently in what someone is doing right now, because again, not everyone is at the finish line, but you can see which direction they're going in. And usually, for the most part, when people are going down and they don't seem to have a drive or a direction to help to show that they're trying to get out of it, most of them don't make it out of it. Most of them don't make something of their adversity and turn it into something beautiful. So I do think that, especially when you're considering a girlfriend or a wife, you do need to be discriminatory. You do need to be highly judgmental of who you're gonna allow in your life, because she could become your wife or the mother of your children. So think very resume with this. Job, education, family history, financial situation. Is she absolutely fucking horrible with money? Well, that's probably not gonna make a good wife. It's probably not gonna make a good mother of your children, because she's not gonna be able to teach those values to her children, right? And she's going to be a burden for you. So she needs to have those strong reflections of her values going on in her life through, her resume, right? So then moving on to her social life and her sexual life. What you really wanna look for is on the social aspect, when you see her with her friends, either you're dating her and you get to meet her friends, or you meet her while she's with her friends somehow, or she talks about her friends, does she have a strong support group? Does she have a strong group of friends that she can rely on, and then they can rely on her, and she's very loyal to them? But also, what makes her alpha? Because just being loyal and just being nice, that doesn't make you alpha. It makes you a nice person, but it doesn't make you strong, okay? What makes her alpha is that, yes, supportive, nice, friendly, loyal, but also these women respect her. And the best way that you see that is you see the way that they look at her and the way that they treat her. When she talks, do they listen? Does she get most of the attention in a group situation? Because that's what makes the alpha. Is she looked at differently? Is she treated on a higher level than the others in the group? Is she treated like a queen? Is she treated like a high value woman? If you don't have experience with being high value, you're not gonna be able to spot an alpha female. So to some extent, to get to this point where you understand what I'm saying, you do need to be an alpha male. But if in the future you want to find an alpha female, you may not be there yet and may not yet be deserving of her, this is the signs that show she is well respected. She's looked at a lot. She's kind of seen with people look at her with this admiration and this glimmer in their eye, like, yeah, she's a vision, because hopefully she's very beautiful and very sexy, right? Are the men in her social groups, are they very respecting of her? Are they very cherishing of her? Do they highly value her? So look at the people around her and see how they treat her, because that's how she treats herself and that's how she thinks about herself. Now, sexually, this is very important as well. You want to know what her history is, right? You know, in my experience, if a woman is super promiscuous, she usually doesn't have that much respect for herself. I'm not judging her as a human being, but I'm not gonna date her. That's just, you know, we could get in a whole discussion, just not gonna date her, okay? I want a woman who is gonna be very, very selective of who she sleeps with. And this is very indicative of me as well, because if she's highly selective of who she sleeps with and then she chooses to sleep with me, it must mean I'm doing something right? It's a transitive property there. I don't want to get into she has to have this many amount of partners or she has to have dated this kind of guy, because you may not know the specifics of the guy unless she was going to tell you the story and you heard the whole story. What I want you to do is take a look at your own values and look at her history of her boyfriends and who she's been with and who she's dated, and make a judgment for yourself. Are these men high value? And if they are, then that's very good for you, because it shows that she chooses high value men. If you look at her past and you find a history, a pattern of consecutive bad decisions and really unhealthy relationships and really toxic sexual and romantic history, it's usually not a good sign of how she treats herself. Just like with the friends, you got to look at the romance and the sex. And who she chose to be with speaks volumes about her and how she sees herself, right? So whatever numbers of partners or any of that, that's up to you to decide. I have my own values, but I just want to explain to you that she should be highly selective and she should be respectful of herself, and that's going to be evident in who she's dated. Okay, and lastly, morality. This is, she's going to be your best friend. She's going to know you like no one else knows. The only woman who's going to know, actually, she's going to know you better than even your fucking mother, okay? So who she is as a person, her integrity and her character and her virtues, this is of the highest importance. Beautiful, sexy, successful, cool, people respect her, all that. That's great. This is the deal breaker. This is the absolute most important part. Her morality, her character, her virtue. Is she honest? And pay fucking close attention. Listen to every story. Women are doing this. Everything that you tell a woman, everything you've ever said to a woman, she fucking remembers. Women remember fucking nearly everything, okay? And they'll bring it up 5 years later. You know, you need to be writing down in your little mental notebook, okay? Everything about her, every story she's told you, every interaction she has. Watch how she treats the waiter. Watch how she treats her parents. Watch how she treats her friends. Watch how she talks about her ex-boyfriends, because you may be that person in the future, unfortunately. Watch everything that she does, and you'll be able to start tallying and accounting for morality is defined by the important moments, but also the small moments and the day-to-day moments. And if you pay attention to all of them, you can kind of do a little like moral equation and come to some conclusion about, what kind of grade someone gets, right? So from the smallest actions to the most crucial events in her life, how did she react? Was she loyal? Was she honest? Was she kind? Was she compassionate? Was she understanding? But also, did she stand up for herself? Does she have self-respect? Does she have boundaries? Is she going to speak up when she's not being treated fairly? These are the values that you want to look for. So there's the kindness element here, and there's the strength element as well, the self-respect and the consistency. And then the most important to me is the honesty. Sometimes women are just not gonna tell you. It's not a lie. It's just like they're not just gonna introduce information because maybe it's sensitive and maybe she's ashamed of it or this or that. So there's gonna be things that you're not gonna find out into the future, right? But if she ever was deceptive to a degree where she hid something that was important for you to know about, or if she ever outright lied, red flag done, in my experience. That immediately makes her not an alpha female, okay? Because there's nothing more important than the truth, even if it's hard to tell or hard to hear. So is she a kind, compassionate, awesome person? Because if she's not gonna be supportive. She's gonna be supportive when you're doing great and when you're successful, when you're cool, but when you're down, is she gonna be there? Is she gonna hold down for you when you're down? The strength. Is she going to stand up for herself and stand up to you even when you're being a dick? Because you're going to make mistakes, right? You're a flawed being. Is she going to stand up to you? Is she going to have the ovaries to tell you the truth? Is she going to be able to tell you the things that you don't want to hear, but you need to hear them because they're best for you. And is she always going to tell the truth? That's her morality, that's her character, that's her virtue. And that, to me, is the most important part in making an alpha female. So, her morality, her sex life, and her social life, and what that says about her, because it's a reflection of who she chooses to be around with and who she chose to be intimate with. And it's a mirror, so pay very close attention to it. And also pay attention to her life. Pay attention to what's going on in her life and what she's achieved and what she's trying to achieve. And you're gonna see if she's a woman who's gonna help you go towards your achievements. And is she gonna be a partner who's holding her hand and running with you, or she's just a fan and is just admiring you but can't actually contribute anything. Those kind of girls can be fun and sexy and you can fuck them, but that's not a wife, that's not a girlfriend. We're looking for a girlfriend, a queen, a wife, a mother of your children. That's what these videos are about. And I highly suggest that you find women who are alpha females, who are strong, virtuous, kind, and cool women, because they're gonna make the most satisfying relationships that you can have. Because a king deserves a queen, and a queen deserves a king. Cool. Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, follow me on Instagram. I'll see you soon. Ciao.